Badlands, running to Badlands. Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
Okay.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Daily Herold here on Badlands Media. I'm your host, Jon Herold, and I got a doozy of a show for you guys today. I think it's going to warm you right up. I'm going to be joined by Ashe to discuss some major election-related news out of Fulton County. I don't know if you guys watched. They did a little special stream yesterday. I watched some of it, watched some of the clips, and I'm looking forward to a good summary of it because it feels like the tides are changing. Do tides change or turn? I don't remember. Tides turn, winds change. I think that's whatever. Let's bring Ashe on right away, and we'll get to some ads later. Ashe, how are you doing?
I'm good. I think they ebb and flow.
Is that what they do?
Which is changing.
Okay.
So
you know, there's one of the things that changes, one of the things that turns, and then ebbs and flow. I don't know.
Well, and the wind can turn, right? You know, you see the wind going one way, and then all of a sudden everything's blowing the other way. That can happen.
Yeah. It's hard to makes it hard to fly a kite sometimes when that happens. But let's get into it. Yesterday, you and CanCon went live and covered. Was that a Fulton County commissioner meeting, or what was that?
Two things. So on Wednesday, there was a state election board meeting in Georgia. And by the way, Brian is really butthurt that you invited me and not him. And he said to me in his, reaction, he said, fine, I'm just going to get all my devolution stuff from Alpha, which I took as an insult to me. And so now Brian and I aren't talking. But on Wednesday,
I was actually thinking about like texting him to have him come on too. I was like, well, I already texted Ashe. Do I need both of them? But I'm going to text him right now and be like, hey, come on.
Yeah, he should come on because this is Brian's story. I mean, Fulton County elections, Brian has been on since the very beginning. What happened? So on Wednesday, they had a state election board meeting. It was 11 hours long. And they were reviewing election specific complaints, and they referred a bunch of them to the DOJ. At about 9 hours in, we had Joe Rossi, who is an election integrity hero down in Georgia, done a ton of work to expose what has happened down in Georgia. And months ago, the Secretary of State did a presentation about what happened with these mixed up batches of ballots. This was a very narrow discussion about mixed up batches of ballots. Now
can we maybe even rewind it a little bit because I think we need more context. So, and by the way, I did text Brian, and I did say that there's questions you can't answer, which is why
he says I'm doing actual work, too busy for this show. He says,
whatever. Brian, get on here. Stop being a little baby.
Come on, Brian.
Get on here. Because this will be good. I promise you, I swear, I did think yesterday after I texted you about coming on, I was like, should I ask Brian too? I was like, well, maybe next week. But come on now. I want more context, though, because right after the 2020 election, there's this lawsuit that was taking place. That's the one that the guy from Minnesota or Wisconsin or Michigan or whatever came in and did the thing where he hacked the machine with the pen, right? Is that lawsuit?
That's Curling versus Raffensperger, which is actually a 2016 election challenge.
2016 election challenge. Okay, so but that's still going on, correct?
It was decided. That is the case where Judge Totenberg determined that we don't actually have any rights to how our votes are counted, that the right to vote ends at casting your ballot.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so that's a separate issue.
Yeah, and there's a bunch. So there's a bunch of election-related issues in Georgia. There's the 315 ballot thing that had no lawful records, chain of custody documentation. There are the signature verification machines that they didn't use, and they didn't do signature verification. There's the voter roll issues in Georgia. There's a number of issues just across the board. Folks will remember Sidney Powell saying, I think the first state I'm going to blow up is Georgia because of how crazy it is. It really is crazy. But in the wake of the 2020 election in Georgia, they had recounts. And they did recounts on December 3rd, I believe the day. Oh, he says he seriously can't. So he's just going to sit in the chat and fact check me, Brian, if I get any of this wrong.
You're just gonna sit in the chat and comment the whole show while he's doing
Talk shit
actual
about
work.
us.
Okay, come on.
So they did these recounts, and rounding, they had 511 ballots for 527 reported votes.
And so this is just like a small limited batch of votes that they examined, recounted. 'Cause they didn't recount them all, did they?
In Fulton County. Okay. Yeah. And I don't know if it was all of them or certain precincts. Brian can answer that. But so what we did 7 shows with Phil Davis on Why We Vote, talking about how they found these mixed up batches. So what they did was they had regular batches of ballots, and they took a little bit from this one and a little bit from this one and a little bit from this one and shuffled them together and made new ballots and ran those through. Each
ones that they already counted.
Yes.
Wow.
Did it several times. And so each ballot has a unique identifier. So they were able to find this. Nobody was supposed to ever look, right? Nobody was supposed to ever be looking at this in this level. So so on Wednesday, Joe Rossi demonstrate a full hand count across Georgia. Rossi's issue was just the 147,000 mail-in ballots, not the total 528.
This is so confusing, Brian. Just come on the show.
I know, right? So anyway, they were short. They didn't have enough when they did the recount. They didn't have enough votes they didn't have enough actual ballots to match the total number of votes. So, and they knew this. They knew this apparently on November 19th of 2020. They knew that it was short. Now, remember, on January 2nd, President Trump is saying, find me 11,000 votes. And they use that everywhere, including the Jack Smith. Jack Smith talked about this yesterday in his hearing as a reason for why he did what he did. That whole 11,000 vote thing. Well, they were short by around 16,000 votes, and they knew that on November 19th.
Yeah. How do we know that they knew this on November 19th? Because
of communications and the open record stuff that has been found. So that was one of the most explosive things, I think, yesterday or on Wednesday's hearings. And one of the things that was new information for me was that on December 3rd, the Fulton County people realized that they were short, sent an email with the information to Ryan Macias of the election group, NGO, not a government actor. According to Joe Rossi's testimony, or maybe it was Garland Favorito's testimony, they didn't even have a contract with the elections group, and sent it off. And then, the issue was resolved. But the key thing is, like, what did they know and when did they know it? And they knew on November 19th that there was a problem with the Fulton County election and they were short. So instead of dealing with that issue, they shuffled up ballots and made new batches to make it match.
That's insane. So just to distill this a little bit further, on November 19th, they realized that they were short ballots. So they made up fake ballots out of nowhere to cover for it. Like, they did that intentionally to make the numbers even.
Yeah.
So where did the original numbers come from that they had to backfill the ballots from?
The original count.
And
so
where did that count come from?
The election night count, right? So this is Fulton County. So we're talking about Fulton County and pallets of ballots being pulled out after water main break.
Yeah. So, but what I don't understand is we had a number that was presented on election night, which showed Joe Biden winning by however much. And then in order to meet that number, which didn't exist, they had to fabricate the ballot. So how did the number get to that level that they needed to backfill from? Like, where did those numbers come from?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the answer to that, except that they were scanned in as votes, and the total on election night read the 520. I think Brian said it was 528 in the chat. It's 528 in Fulton County, and at the time, and this recount is a month later, right? So November 3rd is the election. December 3rd is when they're doing the recount across Georgia, and in Fulton County they have a reported total of They said 527 in the hearing. Brian is saying 528 in the chat. They only had 511 ballots.
Wow.
Yeah. And that, I think it's the shuffling of the ballots, to put them in. So the 527, if they shuffled ballots and inflated the totals on election night to 527, then they do a recount and they don't have
527,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's the difference between 527,000 and 511,000. And if on election night they were making new batches and combining things to increase the total, right, to get to a Biden victory or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they do a recount and they don't have the same election night controls in place. They can't water main break it. right?
Yeah.
They can't do those things. So then they're counting actual pieces of paper, and there aren't 527,000 pieces of paper because some of those are shuffled, is how I understand it.
That is
And they've
wild.
caught this. This is indisputable. The state election board was talking about what to do about it. Janelle King said this doesn't need oversight, election oversight and monitoring. It needs referrals to the AG and prosecution, is what was said by the state election board yesterday.
So what is the recourse here? Like, what are they asking for after all this, besides just prosecutions? Because I don't think that's satisfactory to me anyway.
So this, after we covered the hearing from Wednesday yesterday, we got about half of the way through it, and we're going to cover the rest of it tonight on why we vote. We are going to start an hour early, and then we'll bring on. So we're going to do the rest of the hearing for the first hour, and then the regular show time, we'll have a panel of a bunch of the people in Georgia that were involved in this, and we'll talk about it. Wow. But we didn't get a chance to finish the hearing yesterday. So for everybody, we're going to start at 6:30 p.m. tonight on why we vote instead of 7:30 as usual. But after the count, after we did the Wednesday state election board, they had a Senate ethics hearing in Georgia. And that was live. We carried that when it went live yesterday. And there's two things. One of them answers your question. So they're asking, what is the remedy? What are we doing? They're pushing for hand count, single day election day, paper ballots, hand counted. We don't need to be driving ballots all over the state, all of the things of the election and the kind of core, not, Election Integrity Inc., but the election integrity people around the states have been pushing for, right? Single day election day, in person, voter ID, paper ballots, hand marked, hand counted, all of the things that we know that the other countries do. All these other countries that we have to be more like Europe. Well, Europe does it that way for the most part. So they're asking for that. The other thing that came up in that Senate ethics hearing is that the Trump administration is suing, DOJ is suing for the voter roll information, and the Senate ethics hearing voted to comply, to encourage the Secretary of State to comply. But basically, the Senate is on board with the Trump administration in pressuring the Georgia Secretary of State.
But it's still up to the Secretary of State to do it, and so therefore, they're probably not going to do. Who is Raffensperger still?
Yes, and he's running for governor.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. That's crazy. So did you see, by the way, that Una Pununa Banca is threatening to shut down the government if the Senate doesn't pass the SAVE Act?
No, I didn't. I didn't see that. I think you need to play the Una Pununa, though. I think that's a rule, isn't it?
Do I have to? Do I even have it loaded in here? I do. Okay, 1 second.
Una Pununa Banca.
Yeah, I mean, the SAVE Act is good legislation, in my opinion. It's not enough. It's not everything we need. We have, we talk about election fraud as fake voters, fake ballots, and fake counts. The SAVE Act deals with fake voters and a little bit of fake ballots because you're requiring proof for ballots. So you're dealing with some of that. It doesn't, to my understanding, get down into the weeds on ballot on demand printers and state level mail-in legislation and other things, the counting, the machines, all of those. Yeah. I'm a fan of the SAVE Act. I don't think I got into it on X in the comments with somebody on this. They're like, the SAVE Act solves all of our problems. And so I'm triggered by this because no, it does not. It is a good piece of legislation that moves the needle on verifying identity and making
it's better than what we had before.
100% better than what we have now, which is nothing. We have plausible deniability now. But it does not mean that we have free and fair elections if we pass the SAVE Act is the only thing I want people to understand.
Yeah. And Chris Paul's article recently about that, it's like, it's binary. You either have legitimate elections that you can verify and all these things, or you don't. There's not just a little bit of election fraud, which I think is a great point. And people who argue the opposite of that it's kind of retarded. But anyway, she's threatening to shut down the government. Don't threaten me with a good time.
That's exactly what was in my head. Is don't threaten me with a good time. Because we want you to shut down the government. We think you're all illegitimate and feckless and useless to us and very expensive. You're useless and very expensive.
Yes, not worth the investment for sure. Is there anything else? Like what's coming next with this breaking news from the election stuff? Because the guy said that was it boots on the ground essentially from the DOJ now?
So yes, it was confirmed in the hearing that this is a matter for the DOJ now. So that it's in the and Joe Rossi said at the end, this body has missed its opportunity to deal with this issue because it's now a matter of the DOJ. So that's very exciting because it's confirmation. And my position on this, I ranted on the air about this yesterday. Georgia cannot be involved. Georgia cannot be involved into the investigation of what Georgia did in the wake of 2020, now that we've proven that Georgia lied and they knew November 19th, but on January 2nd, Brad Raffensperger is lying to the president and setting him up, right?
Yeah.
That's a problem, a real problem. I think Georgia has violated the nation.
You could probably make the same argument, though, for like the DOJ itself because of their actions surrounding election fraud. I mean, they were in the same boat saying, it was free and fair election. Bill Barr at the time, Attorney General, by that same argument, if Georgia can't be involved, then can the DOJ itself? Because they did the same thing, kind of.
Yeah. You raise an excellent point. I think it's a valid point. The question is, what then? Right? Or who then investigates and brings accountability?
The military. I've heard they're the only way, Ash.
Yeah. And so what are the guardrails? What are the constitutional guardrails on that?
I don't know.
Yeah. We have military run elections now, and trust us, bro, or we'll shoot you.
Yeah. I don't love that either. I mean, the point for me is that the whole system's broken, and there's no current solution that could be presented by the broken system to fix that system. Like, it's just not going to happen. So I don't know what it looks like, but I wouldn't trust any of these government associated agencies to be investigating this, conducting, new elections. Like, I don't trust them. I have no reason to think that just because they arrest some people that they're going to fix it or change how they operate.
Yeah. And I agree with you on that. I also don't think that the solutions should or have to come from within the system. If we talk about the solution to election integrity that I think most of us forward, those of us that still believe in elections, it is, I just went through it, right? Voter ID, in person, election day is national holiday, paper ballots, hand marked, hand counted, all of the things. That platform of election integrity came out of the grassroots and the people doing the effort, and people started pushing for it. And then it grew a little bit. We did some hand counts, and Mike Lindell and Cause of America were actually really good about this in testing and pushing forward the hand counts. Mark Cook is out there doing hand count road shows, trying to build the public support to hand count ballots in this way. That work has been going on for years. Mm-hmm. And so building the support for that and really synthesizing and putting that platform together in a way that is articulated better than I'm articulating it, but the kind of core election integrity platform for how we make real elections, that wasn't a government solution. Wasn't identified or developed by the government. It was identified by the people, and the people have had arguments about why not blockchain voting, right? We had that argument here on Badlands, and it was July 4th, 2023. It's the first debate I ever had with G-Money. And it's so the people have been having these conversations about elections and about how to restore election integrity. It's cool now that the government is catching up, and we hear them using some of the same language. That to me it's not begging them to fix our problems. It's demanding change and redressing grievances.
Yeah,
it's that thing for sure. Because a lot of people are like, when the military is the only way, they're going to come in and fix it for us. They don't have to do anything. I don't believe that. I think
I don't think so either.
Explicitly said, I'm giving power back to the people. We have to take it and we have to wield it.
Totally agree with you. Totally. Is there anything else you want to discuss? I mean, we could talk a little bit of Jack Smith. You kind of mentioned it already.
I'll bridge it for you.
Okay.
So So on Wednesday, this is just the timing. This is my, everybody put on your tinfoil hats. Wednesday, President Trump said people are going to be prosecuted soon for 2020 election. Also Wednesday, this state election board meeting was going on, the 11-hour one, where the, ostensibly referrals are being made to the DOJ. I think they were actually talking about making him to the AG, but Joe Rossi begged them, please don't use the state for this. They're the target of the investigation. They can't investigate themselves. So that all happens Wednesday. Yesterday, we had Jack Smith then before the House Judiciary Committee, and he is answering questions about his investigations. And repeatedly during this hearing, he says that the reason they did what they did in Georgia, Jack Smith and the investigation into the overturning of the election in January 6th and all of that stuff with that investigation, is because of Brad Raffensperger and the January 2nd. He says, I had so many witnesses. I had really credible witnesses that I was going to call. The only name he mentioned was Brad Raffensperger and the 11,000 vote call. They played the audio of the 11,000 vote call in the open judiciary hearing yesterday. And the day before, that whole narrative was debunked down in an official proceeding in Georgia where it was confirmed, in my opinion, that Brad Raffensperger knew on November 19th, 2020, that what he told the president on January 2nd, 2021 was a lie.
Yeah, he should be in trouble if he's not. But then also in the Jack Smith hearing,
but just on that point, at a minimum, it shows that Jack Smith's investigation into overturning the election in Georgia in 2020 was based on what at least the state of Georgia knew was a lie. That's a pretty big deal, and I think it's a big deal that connects back to their Grand Rico.
Yeah, I have that clip here. Let's play this clip.
Officials. The first was the Secretary of State, who was a fellow Republican. My understanding, he voted for and supported Donald Trump in the election, but told Donald Trump in a conversation that was recorded in no uncertain terms the results of the election, and debunked many of the fraud claims that Donald Trump had to him in real time. In addition to that, I recall that Donald Trump also spoke firsthand with the Attorney General of your state, also a Republican, who informed Donald Trump that he had supported him and voted for him twice in the past. He also told Donald Trump he did not see outcome determinative fraud in that state.
I have an audio from a phone call between Trump and the Georgia Secretary of State regarding the 2020 election. Could you please play the audio?
Are angry. The people of the country are angry. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, that you've recalculated.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong.
So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find.
What?
He knew it wasn't wrong when he said that. And that's the key here. Remember in the DPH intro, their vote is under what they thought they needed. They're putting more ballots in there, okay? This is what he's talking about. Their vote was under what they thought they needed, and they had to put more ballots in there, and they did, and they got caught. And yeah, it's later, right? It's 2026 now. Oh, can't we just move on? What does it matter? What difference at this point does it make, right? Hillary Clinton went contempt of Congress yesterday. So what did they know, and when did they know it? At the time that Brad Raffensperger told the president of the United States that the information that you have is wrong, he actually knew that they were around 16,000 votes in Fulton County alone under what they had on election night.
That's fascinating when you think about it, because Trump knew exactly what the issue is. Trump knew exactly what we could potentially be prosecuting now. It's fascinating. I'm actually, for the first time in a long time, I'm working on an article on Substack kind of talking about the situation. So we'll see if it goes anywhere.
New Devo one?
I don't know if I'm going to have it be part of the Devo series or not. We'll see. There's some things I want to piece together first and then decide. But
I don't know other things in the Jack Smith hearing. There were a few. The one that I find is kind of I don't know if it's a Devo proof or just a SCROTUS proof, but I think it's certainly a SCROTUS proof.
This is so interesting, actually. I found this probably more interesting than the other thing you shared.
Yeah.
Well, let's listen to this.
2022, AG Garland appointed you as special counsel. Can you tell me about your swearing in or the oath of office that you took after that?
I don't recall the specifics of it. I know I was sworn in. I don't recall the specifics of how that was done.
You don't remember who swore you in?
I don't.
Would you agree that taking the oath of office is a legal requirement for the job that you had?
I've taken oaths of office regularly. I haven't researched whether it's required or not, but I've done that, I think, in every government case.
Well, it is required. Terms I heard earlier today were atypical, irregular, no proper procedure. Yet in your opening statement, you said that we followed Justice Department policies, and I would assume you meant the law as well. It strikes me as odd that you don't remember who swore you in, how you were sworn in. It's pretty significant. We all get sworn in here, and I remember every day. You don't remember who swore you in.
I don't remember the details of it as I sit here today.
But you did take the oath.
So, like, just even before we listen to the rest of this already makes no sense. Like, you don't remember who swore you in? Like, who gave you the oath of office that is required for you to take your position?
Or where it happened or when it happened.
any of the details. Most people
Any
get like
witnesses?
pictures of
Can't
that.
remember a single witness that was there to see it.
It's crazy. It's
The
crazy. but that-
actual signing of the oath is the one that's most interesting to me, because I think
Yeah,
that's potential.
this is where it gets really interesting, this next part, because he does end up doing it later.
Of office before you got rolling.
I think my recollection is it was when I was appointed.
It was when, it strikes me as odd that Attorney General Garland had you retake the oath of office on the 14th of September of the following year. Why did he make you do that?
It's a good question.
As I sit here right now, I do not recall. I know that there is the oath of office that I signed. I believe it was on the 18th, the day that I was appointed. And I know the department had me do a second one. I don't know the particulars of why they asked me to do it again, but I know
you signed it.
Like, just logically thinking here, the only reason you would need to have somebody take an oath of office, a second one, they're calling it a second one, is if the first one didn't exist in the first place and you knew you were going to get called out on it later.
Yeah, and it begs the question as to why. Like, did they just forget? Did they just forget to swear Jack Smith in, and so that's why they had to redo it? I don't think so. That seems highly unlikely, especially when you're doing a novel thing like prosecuting a former president, right? In the way that they did it, going after the raid on Mar-a-Lago, these unprecedented, absolutely beyond the pale, in my opinion, tactics, the documents case, right? The classified records case, the legal authorities on that were clear, but Jack Smith didn't care. They just went for it. Makes you wonder, why wouldn't they have him be sworn at the time that he was doing a lot of that, right? Why would they have him be well, is it less criminal liability if you're not actually a sworn officer? I
mean,
I
it
would
probably
think
delegitimized the entire case, I'd imagine.
it would, but what would it mean? What would be the personal interest in doing that? Like, assuming it's not a mistake, right? And it could just be a mistake. I don't think it is, but it could just be a mistake. Assuming it's not, and this was actually a premeditated thing that they did, why would they do that? Why wouldn't they have him be sworn? And I wonder, because we're talking, late 2021 into 2022, coming up on midterms, I wonder what their thought process was, really from like a legitimacy and continuity of government standpoint. Because I think they knew they were illegitimate. I think that all their actions were in service of covering up the fact that they were illegitimate. So why wouldn't they have him be sworn? I think there was maybe a legal reason for that. Like, if we get caught legally, we're in a better position if you're not a sworn officer.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious. I want to go back and do a little digging on what was going on, what news was breaking around the time, that they actually had him re-sign the second one, because, what was it that sparked them to like, oh shit, we got to cover our ass now.
Yeah.
Let's make up the old one and then redo a new one with witnesses and all these things to make, like, the fact that they should have just left it alone and did the fake one, the first one. They shouldn't have had him do a second one, because then it's like, well, why the hell would you do a second one unless the first one had issues?
Yeah.
Stupid of them, in my opinion.
And I think I'm not 100% on this, but I think that the difference in timing is before and after the midterms.
Yeah.
So before the midterms, not sworn; after the midterms, sworn.
Yeah. Interesting stuff
Yeah.
here. But Ash, I think that's all I got for you. So will I see you tonight on Only Lands?
I will be on Only Lands. And reminder, guys, we are starting at 6:30 tonight for Why We Vote. It's going to be a packed, really good episode. So make sure that you tune in. We'll have a panel of folks from Georgia to talk in more detail about the investigation down there, what they found, and what they expect is going to happen next.
Awesome. Thanks, Ash.
And buy soft disclosure lotion.
Yep. Just going to play an ad from them.
Bye.
See you, Ash.
I don't say this lightly. This lotion changes people.
My knuckles would actually start to crack. Started using the soft disclosure lotion, and I am very impressed. Even within just a few days, I've noticed a tremendous difference.
That's not a script. That's what happens when something actually works.
It puts the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again.
Yeah, that line keeps coming up. Because when you don't use it, your skin starts acting up.
Every single ingredient in soft disclosure is intentionally chosen. There's no filler ingredients. It is not like this BS product where they have a bunch of ingredients. Every ingredient listed is for a purpose.
Over 65-star reviews for the lotion alone. Not influencers, not actors, just people whose skin finally shut up. Soft Disclosure Lotion. Once you try it, you'll understand why people won't stop talking about it. Visit softdisclosure.com and use code BADLANDS and get 10% off.
Awesome, guys. Get yourself some soft disclosure. Hard disclosure comes later. Air Freedom says, my soft disclosure came yesterday. I was trying to pay attention to the chat. Somebody asked, where is it at? Hold for processing. Oh, dang it. Now I can't remember which person said it. Shoot. Somebody asked, why is Jon covering this? The Jack Smith thing. Because it's damn interesting. And the timing of it, as Ash said, is damn interesting. And if we think the prosecution phase is coming, even if we're not, I guess I won't speak for you guys, but me personally, not all too thrilled about the pace at which it is coming. If we still expect it to be coming at all, this is the type of stuff you got to be tuned into. They're getting caught in real time with their shenanigans. So it's fun stuff. Jack Smith is, I believe, in big trouble. Yeah, who's this bitch on the pool table? I don't know who put that lady on the pool table. Not a Badlands employee. She's not associated with Badlands. Ash says, we'll talk more about the Ryan Macias stuff tonight, and I hope to have some more breaking news by then. What the hell? She didn't break news on my show? But she'll do it on her own show? That's some BS. But we got some other stuff to go through. We got another half an hour yet or so. Doge, no update. Silver, though, guys. Silver and gold are popping off again. I told you guys, we're going to see triple digits this week. And we have. You can call me Nostradamus. Let's go Nostradamus for predicting this. Nobody else could have predicted this but me. But we're over triple digits. 102 right now. Gold did go over 5,000 for a little bit. It's back down to 4,997. This is a short squeeze, guys. It's artificially suppressed. This is only going to continue going up, in my opinion. That is not financial advice. Go to badlandsgold.com. Get yourself some if you haven't. And also go to badlandsmedia.tv/river. Oh, Ash says, I don't have the interview done yet. I don't have the news to break yet. Whatever. You could have tried harder and got it nailed down before my show to break it on my show. Oh, did I forget to change the screen? Whoopsie. There's silver prices, guys. Bitcoin right now is back above 90,000, almost to 91,000. Good stuff. No updates on the presidential website from yesterday. A couple True Social posts. Trump talking about his Davos trip. What a great trip to Davos it was. So many things accomplished, including the framework of a deal with NATO on Greenland. Also, the Board of Peace. Wow. Make America great again. He's really pumped about that Board of Peace. He officially disinvited Canada. Yeah, right here. He officially disinvited them through True Social. Dear Prime Minister Carney, please let this letter serve to represent that the Board of Peace is withdrawing its invitation to you regarding Canada's joining what will be the most prestigious board of leaders ever assembled at any time. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Donald Trump, President of the United States. Keith O'Higgins, I have zero faith in the GBI, Georgia Bureau of Investigation. They're still too busy investigating the Georgia Guidestones, right? John Stradamus, you fool. Oh, that's a way better. Nostradamus. Well, I'm an idiot. I can't even claim the name now because if I was really John Stradamus, I would have seen how poorly Nostradamus would have been received. And I would have seen this embarrassment coming. You caught me. You caught me, Murvok. Dastardly. River sent me a $50 million bill from Zimbabwe. Oh, yeah, I have one of those too. Isn't that hilarious? So when people ask me if I'm a billionaire, I can actually say I am a billionaire because I do have a $50 billion note from Zimbabwe. It's hysterical. Jonak the Magnificent. Jonak. Because we're going to have Canada as the U.S. Yeah. Anyway, things are getting spicy. Badlandsmedia.tv/river, badlandsgold.com, badlandsmedia.tv/Trezor. Get your cold storage wallet as well. There was one more True Social post I wanted to show you guys, I think. And that's record cold wave expected to hit 40 states. Rarely seen anything like it before. Could the environmental insurrectionists please explain whatever happened to global warming? That wasn't the one I was looking for, though. I want to find the one where he says, maybe I should do a fourth term. Because holy shit, maybe he should do a fourth term. Come on, where you at? It was yesterday, right? Gosh, he's been posting more than usual lately. Retweeting, retruthing a lot of stuff. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to go to my Twitter and do it the old-fashioned way. Come on, here we go. Record numbers all over the place. Should I try for a fourth term? Now, the average normie might be sitting there thinking, like, what is he talking about? A fourth term? This is only the second time he's been in office. This is his second term. What do you mean, Donald Trump? Are you crazy? But no, he's not crazy. And neither are you guys in the audience, because you guys have been following along with the Devolution series, which explains the second term. I think, the more stuff like this comes out, especially the election-related stuff, the election fraud stuff, the exposure of the crimes and actual prosecution, because him saying at Davos that they're going to prosecute stuff in this breaking news, that is breaking news, and that is a change of rhetoric from Trump. He's always talked about the elections being rigged. He's never stopped talking about the elections being rigged. He's always said, oh, man, people should get to the bottom of that. We just don't have a country if we don't, get to the bottom of this. But for the first time, he's changed his rhetoric to, yeah, people will be prosecuted. That's kind of breaking news. It changes it to not only should they do it, but they are actually doing it. Now, I don't know what those prosecutions are going to look like. I don't want to jump the gun too much. But considering how often Trump has talked about this, this is closing the loop on a lot of the aspects of devolution. It's going to make for some interesting conversations, which is why I'm kind of back to writing a Substack article again, which is fun. I haven't written a Substack article in a long time, and I miss doing it. I love writing and researching for those articles. So I'm hoping this gets me going and doing it more often. So make sure you guys are subscribed over there. But this is a big deal, and we may get some sort of. I don't think we're going to get disclosure of devolution specifically, but people are going to be wondering what the hell is going on here, and how do we move forward from this? That needs to happen. Those types of conversations need to take place. So I love it, absolutely love it. PJ Corgan, my phone's battery is at 17%. What does that mean? It means you should probably go charge your phone. That's the decode for you. CanCon says the DOJ is actively on the ground investigating that case in Georgia, SEB 2023 to 2025, and the FBI. Do you want to come on the show and talk about it, CanCon? Now that Ashe is gone? Have a little sausage fest without her? That was great. Was it 2 days ago? I think it was just yesterday, wasn't it? Nostradamus. Oh, what a mistake. 71 degrees in Florida. It is minus 14. It feels like, I don't know, minus 25 or something. Ooh, Trump got a new story, I think, maybe. It just popped up. I just got to get to the right browser. Trump apparently is, Trump opposes plan to use 401k savings for home down payments. President Trump said he opposes a plan endorsed by one of his top economic advisors that would allow Americans to use retirement savings to make down payments on homes. He says, I'm not a huge fan. Other people like it. And one of the reasons I don't like it is that their 401ks are doing so well. Trump's comments marked an abrupt shift in White House policy after Kevin Hassett. Last week, he said that Trump was devising a plan for some 401k funds to go towards home down payment. Isn't Kevin Hassett potentially going to be the new Fed chair? We're going to allow people to take money out of their 401ks and use that for down payment. How generous of them. They're going to allow us. They're going to allow us to do something with our own money. Our government is just ever so generous, aren't they? It's so gross. Just gross me out like that. The fact that he said that, and we're just like, oh yay, they're gonna allow us to use our money the way we want to. I mean, I'm not saying you guys are doing that, but like I guarantee that's what people are cheerleading online. What did CanCon say to PJ? CanCon, how does your plane leaving Georgia hypothesis stack up with this news? It doesn't really, other than tying this to the QR code signature mismatch issue, which was just rediscovered again in 2024. That would pull money out of the stock market, and the stock market would go down. Yes. New show with Chris Paul, Nostradamus and Chris. We could call that show John Chris, right? Now we're cooking. Yeah, Maggie Bundy, my kids did have school today. Edgar Friendly 23, you can already take money from your 401k for a down payment. They would just be allowing us to do it without penalty. It's so stupid. The fact that there would be penalties. That's what's stupid, guys. Like, it should not be that way. It's so fucking broken. What else do we got? There's probably other posts that I missed, but whatever. TikTok announces U.S. joint venture to keep app operating. TikTok announced Thursday the formation of a U.S.-based joint venture that would allow the app to continue operating under American leadership. Pretty sure this is like the third time now that we've heard the same story. But maybe not. Adam Presser, who has worked at TikTok for almost 4 years and was previously a senior executive at Warner Brothers, will serve as the CEO of TikTok USDS joint venture with TikTok CEO Shao Chu joining its 7-member board, the majority of whom are American. ByteDance will retain a 19.9% stake, while Silver Lake, Oracle, and MGX serve as managing investors alongside other U.S. backers. Very excited for, another platform we can be censored on. Right here in the USA. Maybe they'll at least allow us on there, which would be fun. Because the best thing, you're not even gonna let us on the app. That's just deflating. At least let us on there and give us the illusion of access and free speech. That's where it's at. Placate me. The venture will operate independently with safeguards covering data protection, algorithm security, content moderation, and software assurance. TikTok said its recommendation algorithm will be hosted on Oracle's U.S. data centers and updated using American user data. President Trump praised the agreement in a True Social post, calling the new ownership group great American patriots and investors. He thanked President Xi Jinping for working with us and ultimately approving the deal. Yeah, Edgar Friendly is a tax penalty you have to pay. Now we're cooking his Mama Herold show. Yeah, PJ, you can be penalized for using your own money. It's so fucking dumb. Totally agree. So dumb. And we just allow it. And it's just so funny because our nation was literally founded because of a tax revolt. And we're like, yeah, I'm so sorry, guys, that I took my own money to use the way I wanted. That was wrong of me. Please give me another fine, another penalty. My brother, this is from Jessica Coke. My brother took out $30,000 from his 401k in 2019, paid $10,000 in tax off the top. The next 2 years, when doing his taxes, they charged him a total of $6,000 more in taxes, not penalties. It's ridiculous. It's theft, just theft. And they use it for fraud, as we discussed a couple days ago on the show. $3.5 trillion in fraud, income taxes. The real JJ14, John, check the Cocoa Beach Telegram chat for the Nos Chris Paulus meme I made a while back. Just dropped in there. Oh, that's hysterical. Let me see if I can get that on the screen here. Oh, what show is it? We're doing Daily Herold. I gotta save it in my folder before I can pull it up. So hold for processing. This is a very well executed meme, and I love well executed memes. There we go. Okay, check this out. Nos Chris Paulus. That's so funny. Well done, real JJ14. Well done. All right, let's keep rolling. Just a couple more things. It looks like Russia and the U.S. reached preliminary understandings on Ukraine. It's not an agreement. It's not a deal. It's not some sort of treaty or whatever. It's just an understanding. I don't know where that falls in the spectrum of like, you know, are understandings legally binding? Probably not. But it's a good headline. Sounds like a good headline. Russia and the United States have reached preliminary understandings on next steps related to Ukraine, according to commentary by Putin aide Yuri Yushakov, published Thursday on the Kremlin's website. Yushakov said U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, joined by Jared Kushner and White House economic advisor Josh Grunbaum, conveyed details of discussions held in Davos, Mar-a-Lago, and several European capitals, including a meeting between President Trump and Zelensky, to inform Russia's assessment of potential future steps. According to Yushakov, and remember, the United States and Russia already came to like a 20-point peace plan agreement type thing that they were just waiting on Zelensky to get on board with. And he said no, threw a tantrum, can't do it, blah, 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 blah. It's the cycle. Never ends. It's like the fifth or sixth time we've had some sort of understanding or agreement or peace proposal or whatever between Russia and the United States, just waiting for the third party to get on board. Maybe that's why they used understanding, because they've already used all the other words they could have called it in the 4 or 5 other times the story is already played out. But anyway, according to Yushakov, the sides agreed in principle to convene a trilateral security working group involving Russia, the United States, and Ukraine, with an initial meeting proposed for Friday in Abu Dhabi. I like saying that word too. It's always fun when you come across a word that's like, that's really fun to say. Djibouti, that's probably my favorite word to say, but Abu Dhabi is like up there. Those are both like top 5. He said Abu Dhabi is also expected to host a meeting of separate U.S.-Russia economic working group led by Kirill Dmitriev and Witkoff. Yushakov said Russia has formed a security negotiating team led by senior defense ministry officials under Admiral Igor Koistyukov, and that President Vladimir Putin has issued instructions to the delegation based on recent discussions. Commentary said participants reaffirmed that a lasting settlement would require addressing territorial issues under a framework. This is stupid. Whatever. They have an understanding. Next steps coming. They agreed to next steps. They're doing some groups where they're going to talk further to figure out the actual steps. It's a rerun. They are going to join the Board of Peace, though. So that's cool. He added that broader U.S.-Russia relations were discussed at a conceptual level, citing potential post-settlement cooperation, and said both sides agreed to maintain close contact on Ukraine and other issues. So it's more and more that the United States and Russia are becoming like they're the ones that are like, okay, well, you know, you and I, we see eye to eye. Let's just get this little mofo Zelensky over here on board. Even though it's probably not him making the decision. Chris Paul's the only one making sense these days. I'm a little offended by you saying that because I feel like sometimes that makes sense. Like, how is Djibouti not a top 5 word for everybody? That makes total sense. But yes, Chris Paul does make also a lot of sense. Ran132 says we get penalized and the government steals more money if we withdraw our own 401k funds. Yep. C.N. Stewart, negotiating with a professional comedian is the perfect definition of global politics. It's very true. I got to talk to Chris Paul this morning. A real treat. Hoistus. Oh, that was you, Mike? I was listening to that. I heard you on there. Good to see you. My Green Ozone. My mom used to tell us she was going to ship us off to Abu Dhabi as a threat. Have you guys seen what Abu Dhabi looks like? I haven't Googled it in a while. Abu Dhabi. I mean, it looks pretty awesome. Ship me there. It's not a threat at all. I wonder what Djibouti looks like. Oh, I always spell it wrong. I spell it the way a black person would say like, yo, bring Djibouti over here, you know? It's not spelled that way. It's spelled with a D at the beginning, a silent D. Not many pictures of Djibouti. Hold for process. I'm going to find Oh, it's not. Doesn't look that awesome. Is it not like a city? It's a multi-ethnic. Huh. What the heck? Oh, right next to Somalians. Just when you think you know everything there is to know about geopolitics and countries of the world, learn something new. Geez, I can't listen to Jon and read the chat at the same time. Yeah, I can't either. Who's Djibouti? That was me. A threat would be to send you to Mogadishu. Now, what's wrong with Mogadishu? What does that look like? Yeah, that doesn't look that fun. Yeah, small. I mean, screw that. You might as well send them to Minneapolis. Same thing. Yeah, this is my best live dig ever. Thanks, Spetzel. Did Djibouti freeze on the toilet seat? These days, probably. See, that's why it's such a fun word. You can use that thing for in so many ways. It's a very versatile word. That's why I love it so much. That's why it's a top 5 word. Everybody's talking about the storm coming. Not that kind, not the Q kind, but the actual ice storm coming. Monster storm to hit millions across the U.S. with catastrophic ice and snow. So, in all seriousness, I do hope you guys are all safe and whatnot. But also, like the fact that some of these places are like shutting down is not. My kids went to school today. North Dakota doesn't shut down at all. PJ Corgan, Jon, thanks for another great week of shows. Hanging out with you every day has sort of softened the blow of losing CP's podcast. Maybe after all this, we could rent a glass of bottom tiki hut for like a week. Rent a glass bottom tiki hut for like a week. No, man, I know what you're doing here. I saw you this morning on Badlands Daily. You gave $20 to him and said maybe we can get an apartment together to Chris Paul. And now you're trying to soften the blow to that by saying for $10, maybe we can get a little tiki hut somewhere. I'm not falling for that shit. A little two-faced. A little too two-faced for my liking. Yeah, next GART location, Djibouti. GART Djibouti. I mean, we'd probably get a venue down there pretty cheap. I'd imagine. Getting there might be tough. Surviving the GART experience, like not getting murdered by like a civil war, ongoing civil war, that'd be the challenge. But, you know, sometimes that's what you need. It's a good challenge to really bring out the cream of the crop. What we should do is we should do a streaming experience, like a show where we take 6 to 10 Badlands hosts and just drop them in Djibouti with nothing but a camera to like live stream and then see how they survive. We'll come pick them back up after 14 days. 17 days, sorry. I think that'd be fun. Get your booty out of my face. See, you guys are getting it. North Georgia is quite different from South Canada. Ice is a big problem here. I know, but why is that? You know what I mean? Like, why is... It's just because you guys aren't used to it. That's the thing. But it's really not that hard. But I mean, I get it too. The first snowfall of the year, every year up here, doesn't matter. The first time it snows, everybody went retard. Nobody knows how to drive. And nobody leaves early enough to get where they're going, like accounting for, hey, I might have to drive a little slower and traffic might be a little busier. Everybody just leaves all at the same time they always do. And it's backed up. There's accidents everywhere. And it really comes down to we need less women driving. I think women shouldn't be allowed to drive. That's what it really comes down to. But whatever. That's neither here nor there. Document reveals Europe-U.S. pitch for $800 billion post-war Ukraine prosperity plan. Sounds juicy. Only got a couple minutes left. The U.S. and the EU are hoping to attract $800 billion of public and private funds to help rebuild Ukraine once Russia ends its full-scale invasion, according to a document obtained by Politico. No, I do not want to be like, there should be no public funds in this at all. If people privately want to give their money to help rebuild Ukraine, go for it, whatever. Public funds should not be used for this shit. Badland Survivor. Bad Survivor. That's what we'll call that. Djibouti. The Djibouti drop. Djibouti contest. Djibouti's why we can't have nice things. 12 anybody. Ghost is the only survivor. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he'd survive down there. Like my money would be like if all the hosts got dropped down there in Djibouti to see who would survive, except for me, of course, because any of them are replaced. You can't replace me, right? So I wouldn't do it. I would monitor. I'd be like the guy in the Hunger Games, whatever his name is, the guy in charge, the game's host. I don't know what you call him, but that's me. Anyway, I put my money, probably if I were a betting man, which I am, on Alpha or CanCon, like some military experience. They've probably been in a landscape. They may have been in Djibouti itself during their military career. So I put some money there, a little bit of money, hedge my bets. Burning Bright, he'd probably be the first to die. Sather, he'd probably be sneaky. Last of all, Brad living up in Alaska, he'd last a little while. Ashe, just because, like, I don't know. I feel like her personality would be tough. It'd be tough to counter out. I just don't see Ghost survive. I mean, he might speak the language. He might know the local. He'd probably know the backstories of every local person and anybody in power, and he'd know all the Jews. Like he'd know the Jews, so he'd probably know where the good hiding spots are. They'd know where to hide them. So maybe that I should take that into account. I don't know. I'm gonna have to do some more thinking on this and think of the rules, because like if it's just a free for all, you can go anywhere in the country you want, anywhere. I just feel like the logistics of that would be difficult. We probably have to keep them to a confined area, kind of like the Hunger Games. I'm gonna have to think this out, guys, before we pull the trigger. But we're close. I think we're close. And then now I'm out of time. Say that would do all right. I think so. Jessica Storm would probably be dead in seconds. Yeah, she's too fucking stubborn to lose. Jay Drake's lived in Africa. That's so true. Damn. He'd have an advantage. And Cam too, like he's gonna real easily blend in. You know what I mean? Like it'd be hard to. He's not gonna stake out like a sore thumb, like Burning Bright and Ghost. You just take your shirt off and be like, "I'm here. I'm home." Gartijuana. Josh Reed. I don't know him as well as I do everybody else. And I'm not gonna say he's soft. I don't think he's soft, but he does have military experience, so you automatically put him halfway through. I'd have to get to know him more before I bet on him. But the military experience helps. But like just, and he's got a great beard too. Damn. He's a sneaky underdog. Matt Trump, I don't know. I don't know if I don't know if I know him well enough either. Shipwreck would probably get into a fight. She'd go down swinging for sure. General Quas. Are we counting General Quas? I mean, if we count General Quas, like holy shit. I don't even know if he's allowed to participate. I don't think that'd be fair. Rebel Knight, you're stupid, John. I know I'm stupid. This whole thing is. I spent 20 minutes of my show today talking about hypothetical Hunger Games in Djibouti. G Money be sneaky good. I wouldn't bet my money on him though. I bet my sats on him. PJ Corrigan. So PJ Corrigan says Josh is soft as shit, but he's hella confident. And that's the thing. When it comes to like Hunger Games type stuff, I feel like confidence is not, it's not a good place for confidence. I think that's what gets you into trouble down in Djibouti. Yeah. Well, maybe we'll talk about this on OnlyLens tonight a little bit. So if you missed last week was hilarious. You should tune in this week. It's going to be another good one. Try to get a big crowd again. But I think I'm going to wrap it up now. So thank you, everybody. Hit the thumbs up. And yeah, I'll see you guys tonight on OnlyLens at 10:30 Eastern. Oh, a couple rants here. I think I got them all already. Never mind. I got all the rants. So we're good. Yeah. See you guys tonight on OnlyLens. You have a wonderful rest of your Friday and stay warm, everybody. It is a cold one.
Let's get started. That's what she said.
Oh, that's real good.
Why they stopping me? Stopping me.